Hey, Toby Fox made another game. Deltarune. Oh, it's an anagram for Undertale, that's neat. Well, let's give it a play. That was rad as heck. Maybe I should write something about it. Wait. Does this series really need another hot take? I should be really focusing on my other projects right now. I mean, what's the point of commodifying my enjoyment of something if I know that hundreds of other people are going to be doing the same thing? Yeah, I should really just enjoy this for what it is. Well, it couldn't hurt to see what other people are saying about it. This cannot wait. So if you follow video game news like me, chances are that you've heard of Deltarune, a free game released by Toby Fox expanding upon his previously released title, Undertale. You may have heard of it. I say expanding upon because Toby Fox has made it intentionally unclear of where this game takes place within the canon of Undertale. While many people have gone on to speculate of whether or not it's a sequel, a prequel, an alternate universe, or something else entirely, I think there's a lot more interesting discussion to be had when examining the narrative design of this game. So instead of speculating on this series' imaginary timeline, I want to turn your attention to what I believe to be an integral theme to Deltarune in relation to Undertale. Namely, the denial of choice and agency within both the characters and the player. All throughout the game, we are constantly told to reject the notion of agency within this world, that you don't have a choice in what kind of person you are, that nothing you do will bring about change, that our choices don't matter. This runs counter to what I believe to be a fundamental appeal of games as an art form. Games are interactive by nature, and one of the primary forms of interaction provided to players is how they choose to interact with the world and the characters. Whether or not you befriend an NPC, use an item, or make a jump at a certain time, are all choices that have a greater effect on how the interactive narrative plays out. This provides players with a power fantasy that I like to call enhanced agency, the notion that you are able to perform great feats by the will of your choices alone. It was because of you that you were able to defeat GLaDOS, reach the top of Celeste Mountain, save the Mushroom Kingdom, and complete your Pokédex. You were able to do these things because you made the choice to do so. While there's nothing inherently wrong with this design philosophy, it's always fascinating whenever a game rejects the notion of player agency within its narrative. Though, in order to better understand how Deltarune goes about this, I think it's important we first understand Undertale's relationship to player choice. For those of you unfamiliar, Undertale is about the choice between empathy and violence. Players are able to choose whether or not they befriend or slay the characters that they meet on their journey, deciding whether the character Frisk will be known as a harbinger of peace or of death. There's already been a mountain of discussion surrounding the respective pacifist and genocide routes of this game. Here are a couple of recommendations. Though something important for our discussion here is that when Undertale presents players with the choice of empathy and violence, it is often done with the game condoning those who choose the path of violence, by giving players nearly impossible to win fights, a world without fun characters or music to interact with, and ultimately, a game that will be inexorably tainted by your choices to kill everyone. Its ultimate message: violence and hatred are choices that ultimately make your life needlessly difficult and miserable. But through empathy and determination, we have the capacity to combat that hatred and help make the world a better place. All we have to do is make the choice. With such an uplifting message, it's easy to understand why so many people have come to resonate with this game. It takes advantage of many of the inherent appeals of player choice within games, in order to remind us how that same type of player choice can be used to enact empathy and altruism, rather than pain and sadness. This is what Deltarune does to player choice. It's all too appropriate that Deltarune built itself upon subverting player expectations. After all, Undertale was able to find so much success by doing the very same thing. Though while Undertale was built upon subverting the expectations afforded to RPGs, Deltarune was in the difficult position of having to subvert expectations afforded to an Undertale follow-up. So how does it accomplish this? By telling players that their choices won't matter. From the moment you begin the program, The players are going to be ingratiated in a cycle where their choices are going to be ignored, glossed over, or outright rejected. You can choose what your vessel looks like, what their tastes and strengths are, what their name is, all for it to be immediately discarded and for you to inhabit the form of Kris. After all, we can't choose the type of people we are in this world. And from there, players are given a wide variety of choices, only for the game to immediately show that those choices were illusions. You're asked to choose a partner for class. You're stuck with Susie. You're asked a yes or no question. They interrupt you before you could even possibly answer. You meticulously design an evil robot to battle. It blows up before you have the chance. Even the binary between pacifism and genocide, a choice that made Undertale world famous, is an illusory choice within Deltarune. As detailed in the video by channel ChairG Tables, it is literally impossible to commit a genocide run in Deltarune. Enemies will either run away before you have the chance to kill them, a cutscene will interrupt the battle, or the results will be the same whether or not you attacked them or not. The only major difference being at the very end, when the characters are deposing the King of Darkness. If you are nice to the Darklanders, they will assist you and team up with Lancer to usurp the throne. If not, they will chase you out of the darkness. Either way, the result is the same, with you and Susie entering the fountain and returning to the world of light. All of this is done as a rejection of the enhanced agency that Undertale provided players. Whereas Undertale regarded your choices with severity and permanence, Deltarune continually puts your choices in front of you and exposes the illusory nature of them. These themes of disempowerment are embodied by the protagonist Kris, who continually acts with apathy towards the other characters. From the ways they regard other characters in the introductions, the lack of reactions compared to other characters, to the ways their limbs seem to go limp whenever players can't control them. It's a subtle bit of characterization, but it becomes explained by the very end of the game, where we see Kris standing lifelessly in the center of their room, until they tear out their soul, the embodiment of player control in both games, and they throw it in a cage, turning to the screen to stare at you, the player, with malice, as you are only able to move the soul in very slight directions within this cage. As it turns out, we, the players, have been possessing Kris throughout the entire game, relinquishing their personal agency, just as the game relinquished our agency, even going so far as to wipe over their entire identity through our save file. While there would be little point to speculate of what this might entail for future games, I do wonder how ethical the actions of the players are within the context of Kris. After all, while peace was seemingly brought to the world because of your actions, it's important to ask what potential costs that peace might have came with. Though if the game is all about taking away player agency, it does beg the question, why? What might be the overall point to this? While I think it's important that we generally regard the author's intention of a work with a grain of salt, I do think that Deltarune was created as an extension to the ideologies at play within Undertale. At the very end of the pacifism route, you have the opportunity to talk to the character Asriel, who had previously inhabited the chaotic evil form of Flowey. He thanks you for reminding him that empathy and peace are still viable ideologies. But he leaves you with this: be careful of the outside world. Despite what everyone thinks, it's not as nice as it is in the world of Undertale. There are a lot of Floweys out there, and not everything can be resolved by just being nice. It's true that you can try your hardest to be a kind and empathetic individual, but you will still be met with cruelty and injustice in this world. For many people, they have met harsh adversity and pain through no fault or control of their own, with pain often being administered by apathetic individuals like Flowey. And the saddest truth of this is that the Floweys of our world, the people who use their agency to manipulate, demean, and harm others to the point of denying other people their agency, can often do so without much resistance, with some even being encouraged by greater societal structures. In such a world, it can feel like there is nothing that can be done to prevent such cruelty, that we are doomed to be stuck with the consequences out of our control, that our choices don't matter. You can look at this analysis, this game, this entire world, and see it as a depressing experience. and I couldn't necessarily blame you for thinking that. As for me though, even at its most nihilistic, I still refuse to look at this game, this world, and see it with anything other than hope. What might make me say this? Susie. It might feel as though Susie is a personification of this denial of player agency. From the moment she barges into the classroom, Susie seems like the kind of person Azrael warned us about. She constantly makes efforts to ignore your choices as a player, stopping dialogue prompts, attacking enemies that you try to befriend, to even abandoning the side of the heroes for a large portion of the journey. All throughout the game, Susie reinforces the idea that no matter our decisions, she will always be a bully and act as an enemy. Even as she begins to befriend Lancer, the game constantly prepares you for her to become some sort of villain. This all culminates into what I consider to be the game's climax. With Kris trapped in prison, completely unable to escape, we are forced to watch Susie navigate the dungeon. It is a moment where we are completely stripped of agency as players, and are forced to rely on someone who could be best described as a bully. With our choices being ignored, we are forced to watch Susie confront Lancer, who entrapped us in the dungeon to prevent us from hurting his father, the Dark King. Feeling betrayed, Susie attacks Lancer, where we can only hope to prevent this by intentionally damaging Susie with Lancer's attacks. But as Lancer's attacks become fewer and weaker, it feels as though that we are condemned to be stuck with Susie's terrible decision. But thankfully, she stops. Susie finds that she cannot hurt her new friend, because no matter how monstrous or cruel Susie acts, there is always the potential for her to do good. And it is here that we come to what I believe to be the true meaning behind our lack of agency as players. When people are confronted with the lack of agency and choice within the world, there can often be two responses. Some will see it as an opportunity to enact their will without any regard for others, cause hey, nothing matters, so who cares how I act? Others will see it as an opportunity to bring as much joy and happiness to the world as possible. Because if there is a lack of meaning in this world, it falls on us to provide that meaning. And as hopeless and as nihilistic as these games can feel, I ultimately think that they come to that second conclusion. Despite how much this game and this world try to deny us our agency, we should not let it make us lose our faith in other people. It's as Susie says, it's complicated. Sometimes there are just people you gotta fight. But if you never let your guard down, you just might hurt someone you care about. Deltarune encourages us to continue to believe in kindness and compassion. After all, even a person seemingly as apathetic as Kris will still reach out to protect Susie, regardless of player control. Even if we live in a world where our choices don't matter, that we are being denied agency by cruel individuals, we should not let it make us lose our empathy. Because as cruel and as heartless as this world can feel, we all still deserve that choice. Thank you for watching. Best wishes.
When the light is running low and the shadows start to grow and the places that you know seem like fantasy, there's a light inside your soul that's still shining in the cold, with the truth, the promise in our hearts. Don't forget, I'm with you in the dark.